Hello and welcome to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so that you can get the notification about my new tutorials. Today we are going to look at another topic of Kaspersky Security Center, which is how to migrate Kaspersky Security Center to a new server. To do this, what is our current setup and what would be our new setup? We're going to discuss this. So the operating system which I'm using currently is 2012 R2 and the new server has 2019. SQL server, we have MS SQL 2008 R2 Express, which was a default SQL server along with my Kaspersky Security Center 10. I upgraded it to 11 and 12, so it remains same. But the new server has MS SQL Express 2017 already installed. If you want, you can find the link in description how to install this, because this is not part of installation setup anymore. The version which we are currently running for Kaspersky Security Center is 12.1, and of course the new version would be 12.1 also. The current server name for Kaspersky Security Center is apps srv01 and the new server would be app01. IP address of my current server is 192.168.10.91 and the new IP address would be 192.168.10.90, and they are both joined to domain. Same domain of course, and it's a test environment. So let's get started. If you look over here, this is my new server where I have Kaspersky Security Center setup already downloaded, and just to show you the name of the server, it's app01 and the version is server 2019 standard version 1809, and if you see, I have SQL server already installed over here. Just to show you, it has SQL Express Edition installed, which is 2017 as I said earlier. So Express Edition installed already. Just for your understanding, there is nothing inside this database. It's totally blank. Let's talk about the other server which I have been making tutorials about. This is my old server and you can see it is server Security Center 12, and if you look over here, the name of the machine is app srv01 over here. So to begin with, the first thing which we are going to do is we are going to run the setup of Kaspersky Security Center 12. Of course, it would do its processing to prepare for installation, extract the files, etc. Then the first thing would be we have to click on next. It will check for .NET framework if it is already installed or not. And then next thing is I need to agree on the policy, privacy policy and the license agreement. I'll go next. You can go with custom installation where you have different options to select, right? But I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with standard edition. Alright, I'm not going to change anything except I have to just put my SQL server name over here. I can browse. If I can browse to that SQL server, or I can simply define or give the name over here. So of course, if I click on browse, it would take time to load the SQLs which can be browsed. So I'll select this one. I'll click next. I can use Windows authentication mode or I can use SQL authentication mode, so I'm going to use SQL authentication mode over here. It's up to you, whichever mode you would like to use, and I'm going to install it. So if you look over here, the components which it is going to install, first of all, if you do not have .NET framework, it will install that. If you have, then it will install Kaspersky Security Center 12 administration server. The next thing it would install would be the plugin for Microsoft Exchange Active Sync, iOS mobile device management plugin, and Kaspersky Security Center web console. Once this installation is done, we are good. Our SQL Server administration server is installed on the new server. The next task would be to migrate our current setup to the new setup. To do that, of course, I'll show you the steps. So what I would need to do is, first thing is I need to migrate the database, because my database contains all my setups, all my policies, all my computer machines, tasks, everything would be part of my SQL database backup. So meanwhile it is installing, what we can do is we can just have a quick look, of course, over here where I can see I have groups. In the groups I can see I have machines, of course. Maybe it might not be connected because they are not running, and some other details. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run Kaspersky backup utility over here, and I'm going to perform a backup of administration server data, and I'm going to provide the password for it. And it is just taking the backup of my Kaspersky Security Center now. We are good. We are done. Let's look at the backup. I had one more from the early backup, but this is my latest backup, you see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract this backup to my new server. To do that, I'm not going to install this for start, or let's start it because the installation is complete. This is my web console for it. Let's forget about web console. Let's close this and run the normal console, which we are already familiar with, or Security Center console. Alright, this is the very first time, of course, we are running this console. We do not have much data because the server has issued its certificate. Okay, perfect, fair enough. And I'm not going to go with the, you can see I don't have any devices or other details. Now I'm going to pull up my backup of the data from that server. Okay, and let's see. It should be over here. Desktop. This is the latest backup. I'm going to copy this over here. Though it took very less time while backing up, but the size of this directory is, you can see, somewhere around 700 plus. This contains all my data. If you see, installation packages, related details, uninstallation, other policy setups, and everything is part of it. You see, my packages are also there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to restore it over here. So I'll just make sure my Kaspersky Security Center is not running. I'm going to use this utility, restore or backup, certificate only or restore. So I'm going to go with the restore administration server data, which includes my certificate also. I'm going to browse it to the location. Okay, I'm going to provide my password over here. And you see now it has started restoring my data over here. So my operation has completed successfully. I'll click on next and finish the visit. Now the next step is to just verify if I can run my security center. Where to connect the session, establish connection with the remote session, connection fails. Please try again. Okay, let's try. Sometimes it takes time to just verify the services. Just need to make sure Kaspersky Security Administration Server service is running. I'll just restart it for the time being. So now we can see our certificate is changed. So new certificate which was populated from our old server has also come. So do you want to continue connection to administration server? Of course, I'll say yes. And now I'm able to connect to my Kaspersky Security Center new server. And so now if you see, you have all your data over here. Even if you look at the licenses, all your license and everything is part of it. All your data, all your policies, all your tasks are basically migrated from there. Now the only thing which you need to think about it, because earlier your server and the client was configured to communicate to the previous server, right? So what I have done is I have brought that server down, and now I'm going to do a simple thing. I'm going to just change the name of this machine, new server, to the old server. So if you look over here, the easiest way to do is I'm going to change this name to SRV01. Why I'm doing is because my agents which are installed on the machine are basically configured to communicate to my this address over here, right? Now just in case if I don't want to change the name or any reason, then I would need to create a task on the old server. Alright, change administration server task on the old server, right? But it has a warning. If devices store any encryption data, switching them to a different administration server will preserve user access only to encrypted data that user handled earlier. In any other case, no access to encrypted data will be granted. So this is another thing. So in order to avoid that thing, the easiest way, as I said, is to change the name of this server to the old server, which I am going to do it over here now. Okay. And of course, before doing that, I would prefer to do one more thing. Just for the safe side. So for the safe side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this server from here, or maybe I'll change the name of this server from here for DNS entry. But of course, if I'm decommissioning it or changing it, I don't want this server anymore. So I'll just delete this server. And I'm just going to do one more thing. Because this machine is already there also. So I'm going to remove this machine from here also. Alright. And I'm just simply change the name now. Okay, now my name is saved. I'll restart. Now a machine which is over here should be able to communicate to my new Kaspersky Security Center server. So now we have, as we have changed the name of the server from this, from app01 to app SRV01. Now my agent should automatically start communicating to it because it was configured to communicate to the old server. So now if you come over here, we can see the machine is showing connected to me. And if I want to further check this, we have a utility on agent side just for the testing. I can run that, and if you see, I can just simply go here. There is a utility called KL-NAG check, which is basically Kaspersky Lab Network Agent Check. And you see it shows me attempting to connect, server is okay, which server it is connecting, it shows all the details over here. So that means we are good, and my Kaspersky is able to communicate to my agent, is able to communicate to my SQL server. Forget about this critical area because it's a test environment, database is outdated, and I have not created any scan task on it. So this is how you can migrate your Kaspersky Security Center server from old server to the new server, complete new migration, new installation along with your old data. And if you see, all your packages and everything, as I said, are still available along with your policies and your tasks over here, whatever tasks were there. Now I can decommission my old server and I'm good to go with new server. Thank you so much for watching this walkthrough. Please use the comment section below to let me know if this solves your problem or this is what you were looking for, and to discuss more about any of the technologies which I'm talking about. Thank you and stay blessed.